A hikikomori is reincarnated to another world with superior magic, though he just plans to be a hikikomori again. He awakens as newborn Prince Reinhardt, son of King Jilk and Queen Giselet, the former heroine. Discovering his magic level is only 2 and he can only use barrier magic, the embarrassed parents abandon him in a forest. It is revealed the measuring crystal only measures 2 digits. His power level is actually 1002, on par with a god. Reinhardt finds barrier magic has a variety of uses, allowing him to fly and fight. He defeats a flame Fenrir named Flay and, wanting to hide his royal lineage, impulsively claims he is Demon Lord Haruto and takes her as his familiar in the form of a beautiful young woman whom he develops a secret crush on. Count Gold Zenfries, a relative of King Jilk, is disgusted by Jilk's actions and secretly adopts Haruto as his son and Flay his servant. 9 years later, Haruto lives with Gold, his mother Natalia, and sister Charlotte. He struggles with Charlotte, who appears not to like him but also plans to quietly run away one day. Gold starts teaching him the sword, but Haruto, having refined his mastery of barrier magic, is now a powerful fighter. Gold and Natalia worry Haruto's strange abilities might mean he has a demon ancestor, also explaining Flay's attachment to him, but are satisfied they have raised him as a good man. Gold returns from a failed raid on a bandit hideout with 100 injured men whom Haruto secretly heals. That night, Haruto and Flay leave to massacre the bandits in revenge. Char accidentally sees them flying away. Haruto learns the bandits are soldiers from neighboring empire sent to cause chaos in the kingdom with help from a treasonous, high-ranking kingdom official. Haruto has all the information sent to Gold in an anonymous letter. Due to the use of fire magic, Gold suspects Flay killed the invaders. Char is suspicious of Haruto because of his scary aura, the reason she doesn't like him, so she starts following him around. Eventually, Natalia takes Char on a trip to a festival but are attacked by Empire soldiers. Alerted by his security barrier, Haruto sends them psychic directions to escape to safety and flies there in time to save them. Natalia passes out, so only Char sees it is Haruto. She decides he must be a hero despite his aura and promises to keep it a secret. Gold is suspicious of the anonymous person who keeps performing good deeds, especially when Char starts being nice to Haruto, but resigns himself to never knowing the whole truth. Char starts obsessively clinging onto Haruto and discovers his interest in ancient magic, which he believes his barrier magic is related to. She shows him books on ancient magic in the family library. When he tells her about anime, she is desperate to watch it, so he invents a barrier that connects to Japan's internet. This requires teaching her Japanese, which she masters in 2 weeks, and is soon watching so much anime he limits her to 3 hours a day. Char ends up seeing his royal crest birthmark but mistakes it for a hero insignia. Gold leaves to deal with common bandits, so Char demands Haruto transform into his hero form to help Gold. This inspires Haruto to do just that, utilizing a barrier disguise to appear as a masked adult. After capturing the bandits, he introduces himself to Gold as still pending and takes credit for all of Haruto's anonymous deeds. After years of work, Haruto finally produces a barrier clone of himself that can replace him when necessary. Their home is visited by Prince Laius and Princess Marianne, whom Haruto realizes must be his younger siblings born after he was abandoned. Laius is an arrogant bully and challenges Haruto to a duel, but is defeated and humiliated. Marianne, more polite and intelligent, can't believe Haruto only registers as level 2. Laius remains bitter over his defeat. His servant suggests he spend time getting to know Char during his tour of the kingdom. This makes Haruto suspicious. That night, Haruto defeats a group of mages who admit they were sent by the queen to assassinate Char, who has the magical potential to surpass the queen's own power. Haruto realizes the queen, his birthmother, Giselet, must be evil and knows from personal experience she is willing to kill children if it serves her purpose. He swears to keep Char safe, even if he has to assassinate Giselet. Haruto learns from Gold Giselet was an adventurer before she killed the Demon Lord and married King Jilk, but in her quest for power she has overthrown Jilk and now rules alone. So her death would cause civil war as nobles fought for the throne. Gold hopes Char might one day be powerful enough to overthrow Giselet and replace her as a benevolent queen. To this end, he enlists Haruto's help in protecting Char until she grows up. Haruto agrees, though privately he desires his own revenge on Giselet and begins planning to kill her himself. 5. Haruto successfully infiltrates Giselet's castle is still pending. Even with her powers as the hero, Giselet is defeated with ease. Haruto fits her with a slave collar and allows her to remain queen, but warns any attempt to remove the collar or kill Char will make the collar sever her head. He departs, leaving her totally humiliated. 5 years later, there have been no further assassination attempts, and Char is growing up happily. Giselit has become a recluse, and Haruto decides he can become a hikikomori again. Unfortunately, Gold reveals Haruto must attend Magic Academy in the capital for 3 years as former King Jilk has sponsored his attendance with the unspoken instruction to make friends with Marianne and Laius. Still pining for his hikikomori life, Haruto instead decides to send his barrier clone that can't use magic, hoping its lack of ability will lead to a justified expulsion that won't upset Jilk or Gold. Meanwhile, he retreats to his secret mountain cabin hoping for at least 3 years of total isolation, except for when Flay brings Char to watch anime. Haruto manages to make a teleportation barrier to make her trips easier, and to talk with his clone in the capital. Haruto abruptly remembers he was supposed to find a new attendant to follow him to the academy. He visits Pandemonium, a secret village in the mountains populated by the skeleton army of the mages Giselit sent to assassinate Char, including the golem Gigan. After 5 years, the skeletons have developed personalities and consider Haruto their savior. Gigan even turned out to be a shy young female. Their chief, Johnny, reveals, with Flay's help, they have begun taking in other monsters with nowhere else to live, and the village has grown into a farming community. Unfortunately, Haruto doesn't find a suitable attendant among them. A blizzard dragon is pushed from its home by Imperial mercenaries. Gold worries it might invade the kingdom, so Haruto and Flay go and find it injured just inside the Empire's border. After defeating the mercenaries and healing the dragon, Haruto learns she is a bookworm and fellow hikikomori who has lived in complete isolation for 300 years, except for occasionally visiting cities disguised as a young girl to acquire books. As the mercenaries have burned her home and books, Haruto invites her to live in Pandemonium. She accepts Haruto as her master and is given the name Liza. Liza begins working as a maid alongside Flay, who is perturbed Liza is somehow a perfect maid without any training. Liza quickly becomes Char's personal maid and magic instructor. Haruto is tempted to make her his attendant, but can't bring himself to take her away from Char. Char learns Haruto will be attending the academy and gathers her round table knights, Flay, Liza, Johnny, and Gigan, to plan how to protect Haruto. Since her understanding of schools from watching anime is that there will be a secret evil council supported by a corrupt noble who becomes Haruto's enemy, Johnny and Gigan are left to expand Pandemonium's army while Char, Flay, and Liza preemptively investigate the evil council. Liza tells this to Haruto, who plays along as a means to make Liza his attendant without upsetting Char. Certain once he is expelled, Char will naturally abandon her plan anyway. Laius hopes to rematch Haruto. Marianne now holds a crush on Haruto. Cultists of the Lucifera Church are spreading their aims to overthrow the monarchy. Laius has become scared of Giselit, as he believes she is using the cult to get rid of Jilk permanently. Marianne hopes Haruto can do something while Laius prefers to seek out the Black Knight. Giselit overhears, attacks Marianne, and orders Laius to become Haruto's friend to discover Black Knight's identity. Laius feels guilty he might have unintentionally put Haruto in danger. At the capital, Haruto saves travelers from a monster as Black Knight, attracting the attention of one of them, a red-eyed woman named Irispelia who gives Liza a strange feeling. Haruto registers with his fellow students, who he doesn't fit in with at all, then teleports back to his mountain cabin to recover. Unfortunately, Char insists they go right back to the city to try a restaurant. They encounter Irispelia, who almost recognizes Haruto as still pending from the feel of his magic power. Haruto feels she is mocking him as he still believes his magic level is 02. After she leaves, Char also claims Irispelia felt strange, and Haruto informs Haruto they must pass an exam before the entrance ceremony. So Haruto plans to fail and be expelled, but when ancient magic researcher Dr. Lucianel measures his magic, it explodes the crystal sensor. She correctly deduces Haruto has so much magic the crystal couldn't handle it, approves his acceptance, and appoints herself his advisor, but he refuses, believing she is mocking his low magic level. As Haruto has no magic, Haruto gives him a shield barrier and magic pistol. Haruto encounters Irispelia and student vice president Schneider, who tries to bully them both. Haruto's barrier protects him, and his pistol injures Schneider. Haruto is so stressed Haruto replaces him and is immediately challenged to a duel by Schneider. That night, via his security barriers, he watches Irispelia apologize to Schneider, who agrees to cancel the duel if she dances naked. so she strips. Exasperated, Haruto saves her as still pending and yells at her for being such a naive airhead. He also places a barrier on Schneider's bullet wound as punishment, warning it will tighten and cause pain if he uses magic or tries to remove the barrier and will last until he atones for his dishonorable behavior. Schneider swears revenge on still pending. Lucianal explains first years must choose either night classes to learn combat or research classes to invent new spells. Laius and Marianne interrupt as they want Haruto to join their classes. Haruto is grateful when Irisphilia appears, using the excuse to avoid choosing a class. Irisphilia is instinctively aware there are two Harutos as well as still pending, causing Haruto to suspect she is a demon. She asks Haruto to be her first friend, explaining she kept being abandoned by foster families, so she is terrible at communicating. Haruto is compelled to agree and joins her ancient magic research class, which unfortunately is also Lucianal's class. Elsewhere, Flay reminisces on the previous Demon Lord, a kind man who sought peace with humans until Gizelet killed him. Flay believes he reincarnated as Haruto, when in fact he reincarnated as Irisphilia, whom Haruto nicknames Iris. Char teleports to the academy and is happy Haruto has begun assembling a harem of wives as long as she marries him too one day. Iris is baffled by Char's bizarre claims, as well as Haruto letting Char pick his other classes, since according to Char, he has already mastered magic and there is nothing left the academy could possibly teach him. Haruto promises to help Iris work hard, but privately still plans to be expelled. Even Haruto begins attending classes in C classroom for average students while Iris attends advanced classroom. C class is given another exam, so Haruto deliberately gets 60%, not realizing the easy questions were actually quite advanced, and 60% is unbelievably high for a C student. So he is promoted to a classroom with Iris and Laius. Professor Belcom discusses the difficulties of accurately measuring magic levels, which crystal sensors are only able to give a general estimate of. Haruto makes a thoughtless observation about hidden magic effects crystals can't sense, a cutting-edge theory only anonymous genius Weiss Yule has ever proposed before. Belcom becomes convinced Haruto is a genius, maybe even Weiss Yule himself, though since Weiss Yule is Japanese for white owl, Haruto realizes it must be Char. Exhausted, he switches with Haruto C, who attends Lucianal's research lab, and finds her experimenting on Schneider. Determining the barrier still pending placed on him is definitely ancient magic from the mythical era that can only be used by someone level 80 or higher. Lucianal is intrigued by still pending and in her obsession correctly deduces Haruto C is still pending. Sensing his shock, Haruto appears as still pending to alleviate her suspicions, pretending he is following up on Schneider's punishment. Lucianal attempts to capture him to interrogate him on ancient magic, but he escapes and threatens her into stopping looking for him. Lucianal throws a welcome party at her mansion at which Iris becomes drunk and passes out in Haruto C's lap. Lucianal reveals Iris is studying ancient magic because she possesses all 6 magic elements. Unfortunately, her magic level is only 05, so she hopes ancient magic might increase it. Schneider, having plotted with the Lucifera Church to marry his father to Gizelet and become the new prince and heir to the throne, fears still pending ruining those plans and sends assassins to kill Haruto C, Iris, and Lucianal. Haruto overhears Schneider through a CCTV barrier, captures the assassins and interrogates them. He visits Schneider to punish him further, but Schneider injects himself with a potion, turning into a giant monster. With Char's advice, Haruto turns Schneider back to normal without killing him, albeit mentally disturbed. Haruto visits Haruto C, and they realize Haruto C is getting used to being around people and is actually starting to enjoy it. Char shares CCTV footage of Haruto's fight with her round table as certain proof of a secret evil council targeting Haruto. Renaming themselves the Camelot Kingdom, Char decides to infiltrate the academy to find the council members. Watching Char's antics, Haruto can't deny there is some sort of group Schneider was involved with, so he lets Char do as she likes, but keeps a secret watch on her in case she gets herself in danger.